you mind sparing me some water?
Yeah, sure.
Wait, what? Why did the water go down the cup? Let's increase the flow speed.
Hey, can you spare me some water?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Coanda effect is a tendency of a moving liquid to stick along the surface it's moving on. An example of the Coanda effect is this levitating ball that we talked about during quiz 5. This is another example of the Coanda effect. You're pouring water at the top, and the water sticks to the wooden stick and travels all the way down to the bottom glass, where it accumulates.
The reason Coanda adhesion occurs is because of the presence of viscous drag generated by the interaction of the fluid with the curved surface. The radial pressure gradient along with centrifugal forces increase the fluid speed and keep the fluid in contact with the wall. This is a simplified image of the same phenomena. The pressure difference between the ambient air pressure and contact pressure is the main reason for the Coanda effect.
Intuition should tell you that the Coanda effect is due to surface adhesion. Let's say you increase the velocity profile of the water. This will allow less time for the water molecules to react to the surface it's moving on. Another way of doing so is you can make the tip at which the water leaves the surface to be very sharp.
Consider the simplified schematic of our model. Over here you have the lip of the container, and then if you have a big tank assumption, that means you can model the flow as a jet which goes across the top and out of the container. Over here at the lip, the flow would speed up because you would have a constant angular velocity regardless of your radius of curvature at the lip. So since the fluid is being deflected, that means there's a force acting on it, and you can solve for that force using change in momentum and change in time. You can solve for the change in momentum using the change in velocity using vectors, and you can solve for delta t using the flow rate. If you solve for the force, you end up with this expression, and if you equate this to the centripetal force expression, which would be at the point where it's about to detach since both forces are equal, you can end up with this expression, which is the ratio of the radius of curvature of the lip to the radius of curvature of the stream, which is then a function of theta and a dimension that's constant over here.
Here is an image of our 3D printed prototype that will highlight the analysis we have just shown. We have 4 spots for which water can flow out, with each lip created at a slightly different radius. Let's see water pouring out of these channels. After we freeze the image of the flow, we can see that as you look more into the page, the radius of curvature and angle increases. The blue water closest to you clearly pours out the furthest and has the least angle of deflection, and the green water farthest from you exhibits the opposite extreme. We use the tracker software to find the relationship between theta and radius. When we input the deflection angle results from the 4 varying radii into an Excel graph, it confirms the logarithmic relationship between radius of curvature and deflection. Now let's get back to seeing our final results.